Dublin.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the final week. This is very, very exciting. We've made it to the end. It is the official finale. Today, it's really about making sure you feel confident in whatever eating pattern you're going to be moving forward with over the next few months. And I want to briefly chat about a plan for the weekend, reiterate some tips on portions. I want to talk about meal combining, keto cycling, just overall say congrats. And I would love to hear from everyone in the group who can make it onto the call to share their story, their journey, even if we could go through some of the questions that I had asked earlier as a theme, if you don't have anything particular you want to share, but the floor is open as a space for anyone who does have stuff to share that I would love to hear from you all. So to get started, congrats! Big round of applause to everybody. You made it. Yay! Yeah. It was hard. It had its challenges, but you came out stronger and on top of your game, even better than you were 6 weeks ago, which is very exciting when it comes to your eating and your wellness.
For sure. I feel like a whole different person already. That's great.
Yay! So exciting. Okay, so I mean, while we're here, let's just chat briefly. I mean, would you like to, can I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
Okay. How would you describe Tone 30 to a friend who was curious to know more?
Well, I have had a few people asking me about it, for sure. Awesome. For me personally, it has been it's an intense course that it taught me a lot. For me, what I really got out of it was a further education on healthy eating, what food does for your body, and how easy it really is to lose the weight if you do it like the right way.
Awesome. Okay. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, because I've done this kind of thing before, like as I had said to you, with just the calories. And so me personally, I feel that I've just taken my knowledge further. And so now I know more about, I guess, I don't know if macros is the right word to use, but more in detail how food, not affect, but how food, how can food could work with the body.
Okay, so more so like how food makes you feel and how to integrate it like in your day-to-day.
Yep.
You feel more aware of the macros in foods.
Yeah, and it educated me about the fact that fats are not necessarily so bad for you once you use good fats and protein, and that you can really function without carbs. And it also taught me that there's a lot of things that you wouldn't expect to have in carbs that do actually still have in carbs. And so it was for me very much a further education.
Okay, awesome.
And it gave me a lot of interesting recipes, which I've been trying, and I'm really looking going forward to continue with the recipes and stuff like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I loved how you really experimented in the kitchen and you were able to, because for those of you who don't know, Sharon had some tests done where she could eat certain foods and not. So she was a bit skeptical to sign up for the Tone in 30 course at first because she wasn't sure if the foods would align with her health and wellness regime. Luckily they did, and this is a great plan for her to keep up long term. So it was great that you were able to explore so many recipes and find a way to integrate them into your lifestyle, and you can use them moving forward. And like, I got so excited to see you, like, I'm trying out this one and that one.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was another thing too, I guess, that you could say that I got from the toned is that I always thought that beans would be so important for this kind of diet, or even for like a vegetarian diet or whatever, but it taught me that there's so many other alternatives to the things that I can't eat that are, that are there and can make a healthy meal and for all day, not just one meal, but breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Fantastic. Cool. So what were some of your biggest breakthroughs?
Well, I mean, mostly for me personally, mostly I think how many alternative recipes there are out there. I think like
like almost expanding your knowledge
yeah.
base to say like, okay, this is not too restrictive, I have options.
Yeah, it opened up a lot of things for me, a lot of nice meals, as well as I have a wicked sweet tooth, and it also introduced me to other things that I can enjoy, that are healthy and not so much sugar, and that would be just as good as any other sugary stuff.
Awesome. And what about exercise? Was that a breakthrough for you? You were able to do one day?
No, I did it that one day, but I'm not there yet. I'm still not there with the exercise. But I feel confident that maybe in a month or so, I will, be ready to get back to incorporating some good exercise.
Fantastic. What are you most proud of walking away from this Tone in 30 course knowing and practicing?
Well, I'm proud that I lost the weight that I was hoping to lose, and that I have gained more knowledge to go forward, to continue with my food issues, with my my restrictions, that I now have other options, and I have a lot more to work with now, for sure.
Awesome. And what specific changes did you notice in your body?
Well, the main thing that I was wanting was for my tummy to go down a bit, and it did. I've gotten a lot of energy, which was something I had been struggling with recently, and I do know that exercise will, of course, make that much better. And so I think it's putting me in a position where I will be better able, for sure, in a short amount of time, to get back into exercising and just a completely fit and healthy routine. I think Heidi just said something.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Cool. So that's very exciting. Congrats. Super duper congrats. Okay, so we will check into some more questions in a bit. What I want to talk about is the fact that after Tone in 30, some people think that this way is too restrictive for their lifestyle. So there's an article that I sent and a few resources sent this week, like a podcast. Not sure if you got around to listening to it, but highly recommend to listen to it if you haven't gotten a chance as yet.
I will. Yeah, when I have a chance, I will, for sure.
And it does talk about the fact that going in and out of keto is not necessarily, when it comes to keto cycling, if done properly, it could work and be healthy, but if not, then it could be actually dangerous for your health. Because keto is very high fat, and it does work for improving blood glucose and weight loss. Let's say, for example, you want to have a cheat meal. Having a cheat with like processed foods and processed carbs is not going to be healthy. However, if you have a treat of like, let's just say extra carbs, for example, that are healthy and fibrous, like sweet potato or lentils or peas, that is not going to be, hey, Rebecca, welcome.
Hey.
Hi.
We're just catching up about what keto cycling looks like, and also going through a few questions to get some information about how your experience was. So for those when you're coming off, which most people might come off by next week, Wednesday or so, it's okay to do 6 days a week of eating like this and 1 day a week off. But the day off, you really want to make sure you planned it efficiently. So you want to mute your phone, Rebecca, so that you talk, so that we don't hear the noise in the background.
Yeah, let me just work out how to do that. Hold on.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Right. So when you want to chat, just unmute it. Okay, so basically, when you do want to have an open day, you would think, okay, I might have some, if you eat lentils, for example, you might eat like lentils and rice or sweet potato or some healthy starches or fruits, a little more fruits, whole grains, that sort of thing. More so aligned with the Mediterranean way of life. So you really want to think Mediterranean way of life. You can look that up. If you're confused about which direction to take after keto. And if you think like, okay, I want to try keto most of the time, but I'm going to splurge on cupcakes or donuts or candy, then keto is not the right program for you. And I would recommend doing something more just like low carb and doing more Mediterranean style eating. So when you have a short-term goal especially, or you want to give your body like an opportunity to reduce inflammation, it's really good for people who are predisposed to things like Alzheimer's and different brain things in the future. This is keto could be a good diet for it. But for sustainable weight loss, what you want to think about is eating whole foods and a lot of vegetables, and really eating, like we learned in the first week or two, which is, to 6 or so out of 10 fullness, 5 or 6. And when it comes to intermittent fasting, that really is a component to keep on moving forward. It helps with food addictions and different addictions. And I highly recommend moving forward, you stick to things like intermittent fasting, and you still stick to mostly whole, clean vegetables and foods rather than processed. Anything that's processed would come in like a package or junk food or sweets or treats, because those ingredients are not good for health anyway. Yeah. And if you're looking to keep a lean for life sort of waistline and lifestyle, then everything in moderation, definitely, but be mindful of amounts and still eat a healthy diet for the most part. Hey.
Back again. Sorry, a bit of a malfunction.
Okay.
Back again, now we're in the car with Wi-Fi, so good to go.
Okay.
Sorry.
So that is kind of how you want to transition out of it. Okay, so Rebecca, while we have you here, let's ask you some questions.
Sure.
Okay, so to start, what would you say was your biggest takeaway from this course? Totally.
It's got to be transition to liking vegetables. Yeah, certainly. Actually, enjoying vegetables, and we've just been out for a meal actually, and we've just had fish and vegetables, and I really, really, really enjoyed the vegetables. I actually look forward to it all day. So yeah, for me, it's got to be the veg.
Awesome. What was your favorite recipe?
The cauliflower rice.
Cool.
Yeah,
that was like an easy one to just bang on.
Yeah, and also the fact that I could eat bacon. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah,
Sharon, what was your favorite recipe?
The chicken celery soup, I think it was. And
that was one of mine as well.
Yeah, everyone loves that one.
Yeah, I liked it because it was convenient. For me, most of my cooking was done on the weekend because I really can't do it during the week. And I just made pots of it and froze. And that was really good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I enjoyed the Mexican chicken as well. Sorry, I forgot that one, Mexican chicken.
Cool. Yay. Okay, so Rebecca, how would you describe Tone in 30 to a friend who was curious to know more?
Something that you can do quite easily. It's very achievable. It's not daunting, and it's something that makes you feel good.
Cool.
It just makes you feel good about doing something for yourself.
Nice. Okay, so what sort of changes did you notice in your body, Rebecca?
Inches, no bloating. I just feel I feel better, and people have actually commented. So I feel a lot better. I've lost inches, and I'm not bloating anymore. That for me is a massive thing, because it used to make me feel really, really bad. So for me, that has been the best thing. No bloating.
Fantastic. And what about your tone?
Oh well, that's been a bit of a transition, and that's down to you, Annick. That's the training, but that's been, for me, getting back into that has been fantastic, and I'm really enjoying it. 6:30 in the morning.
Okay, cool. Would you recommend Tone in 30 to a friend?
I've recommended it to so many people, Annick. Honestly, I keep telling everybody I meet, so most definitely yes.
Cool. Right. So, what were some of your biggest breakthroughs?
Well, I mentioned the veg. I think the veg is a big thing for me. Also, not eating any candy. I mean, that for me is life changing. I've lived off it for the last 30 years, so for me, it's been quite difficult, but actually now it feels fine. It feels fine. I think that would be it. So the veg and the candy, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So moving forward, there's a concept called meal combining, and when you transition out of Tone in 30, you've had a big transformation, and you want to figure out, okay, how do I incorporate foods that I might like to eat from time to time if you are going in that direction? So
yeah, that's what I was worried about. Yeah. Okay. How do I do that then?
The best way to do it would be that when you do want, let's say, sweet potato or pasta or rice, keeping the ingredients to whole foods as much as possible and limiting things like the white flour are still going to be able to help you not get bloated.
So like go for brown rice, go for gluten-free wraps, is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. And is it okay to do that once a week? Because that's what I was sort of thinking. Could I have a pizza once a week? Could I have a sandwich once a week? But that's my one treat for the week, sort of thing.
Yes, ideally, if you could even do it like a gluten-free pizza or gluten-free sandwich, that would be the best thing to do. However, when your body does want carbs, it would be a good idea to do it with vegetables, so that when you eat your starches like potatoes or rice or bread, even if it's gluten-free, you have it with vegetables. If you do eat beans, with beans, instead of, let's say, potato and meat. You have either potato and vegetables or your meat and vegetables.
Right. Okay, so don't have meat, potato and vegetables.
Ideally, most of the time, no.
Okay. So is there a better option in terms of potatoes? What I mean is cassava better than potato? Is sweet potato better than, is one of those better than the other?
For health in general, they all have pretty good vitamins and minerals. It's really going to come down to how they're prepared and cooked.
Okay.
And when it comes to staying lean, it's really about portioning it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
even having it a few days a week, more so than a few times a day.
Right. One of the other things I've really missed is cheese. I've had a little bit of goat's cheese. Are there any cheeses that are better to eat than others?
Goat cheese is definitely the best. I would recommend, if you did want some, to stick with mozzarella. Ideally, I don't recommend dairy to any of my clients.
What about Edam?
I don't recommend dairy for any of my clients.
Okay. Okay.
But it's up to you how. No, never. Well, I guess once in a while, like.
That could be my treat once in a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
A special occasion.
But mozzarella,
Feta.
or feta or goat's cheese.
Yeah.
Okay.
The goat cheese would be your best bet for sure.
Okay. I mean, I've certainly got used to not eating the cheese, so I would only do it as a treat. So yeah. Okay.
The thing is, why this sort of balance could be tricky of eating very low carb and then eating the carbs is that sugars are very addictive. So once you start with sugar, the body will crave it, right? So sugar is more addictive in the brain than cocaine when rice are tested in labs. So it's really about understanding how and when you do sugars and just knowing that it has a very addictive effect. So sticking with the sweeteners that we chose and still using it as a moderation of, okay, I'll have a treat once a week or once a month, and mostly choosing things like the dark chocolate that is not sweetened, that sort of thing, most of the time would be beneficial.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And like eating red meat. What about red meats?
I don't really recommend red meat unless you're super craving it, especially for women in their cycle. There might be once in a while, once a month, or that you really crave it. But unless you're craving it, I would say no, it's not necessary.
Okay. What about pork and hams and things like that?
Pork and ham is not the cleanest meat. So again, it's kind of like if you feel for bacon here and there, or if you feel for ham here and there, but ideally you want to stick to Mediterranean style of eating, which includes lots of lean proteins like chicken and fish.
Okay.
And eggs as the majority of where you would choose from in your variety.
Okay.
And, incorporating salads in your week on a day-to-day basis is always a good thing to keep up. The soups are definitely a great habit to keep up, especially when you come home from work. You could just, warm it up. It's easy. So if you think about your meal prep and your lifestyle moving forward, you can think about, okay, on a monthly basis, I might do a big pot of soup and container it out into a few containers. I might prep salads. I might do some chia puddings and some snacks, some treats of snacks. Such a nice cat, Sharon. Oh my God.
Oh, my old girl. Sorry.
We all have cats here. And things like olives, roasted vegetables. When you go to different events, offer to take a salad if you know that there's going to be nothing there. Snacking on things like hummus, especially when socializing, would be good in terms of Mediterranean style of eating. And when you have an event coming up or a wedding, you can always come back to 2030 and be like, okay, I'm doing this for 4 weeks intensive and committing to it to see the results you want to see.
Okay, great.
But again, like I said, some people can keep this up a lot of the time, and some people prefer a more relaxed approach. So it's really up to you.
I'm going to feel guilty to do anything but this.
So you want to find a good balance of where where it lies. So there's also different ways that people do keto. So the best thing to do is make sure that your fats are coming in from healthy fats, like your olives, your nuts, your seeds, and less of the saturated fats like the butters and the animal fats. Even though they're allowed, it's like you want to make sure most of them are coming in from like your plant-based sources. And like I said earlier, there's a podcast that I sent, which I highly recommend listening to, and to make sure that you're up to date with the article I sent as well, which is about doing it on and off and how to do it properly.
Okay.
And the oils as well, the plant-based oils are better, I guess, than other kinds of oils, maybe. Like, and should we limit the quantity of oils that we're taking in, or would the like, I mean, like in the first week, you were encouraging us to use a lot more oils and stuff. And I find keto does that, and it's okay to continue with
Great question.
oil.
Okay, that's a great question. So yes, the fats that you will have will dramatically change when you're on keto to when you're off of keto.
Right.
And so what happens is when you're on keto, you're quite liberal with your nuts, your seeds, your oils. But when you're off and doing a more balanced approach to eating, still eating clean whole foods, your fat intake will drop tremendously. So instead of, instead of being able to eat like 2 or 3 tablespoons of nuts, you might only eat 1.
And that's recommended because that's what's healthy long term.
Yes, and also in terms of weight management, nuts are very caloric. So fats can definitely increase the calories. So when you're doing no carbs, then you can eat a lot of fats. But when you are having more carbs, the fats come down.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But when you do choose fats, even if they're lower, you choose them from healthy sources like your nuts, seeds, olive oil, avocados, because we don't want to get just like a low-fat yogurt or dessert, because what happens is those low-fat products are high in sugar, and a lot of things are marketed to us as low-fat, but it's not really healthy. And then there are a lot of things that might say healthy or keto when we're eating more normal, but it might be really high in fat. So we really want to look at the labels and even keep using MyFitnessPal to see what your day might look like and how to move things around. So you can, if you want to stay on keto like 6 days a week, then you'll keep your MyFitnessPal the way that it's been. But if you do want to move things around, then you're going to switch the percentages to something like 20 to 25% from your protein. Could even go up to 30% depending on if you're a guy and you want to have higher in protein. You'll keep your fats between 25 to 30%, and you'll keep your carbs between 45 to 65%. And you can still make sure that a lot of those carbs coming in are from your vegetable sources.
Okay. So pastas, Annick, gluten-free, would you recommend if we have any pasta?
Yes. So if you want pasta, there are options like there's chickpea pasta, lentil pasta, there's rice pasta. I still recommend the kelp noodles and the konjac pasta because they're still good to include anyway. And those would be the main ones. I wouldn't really recommend like any corn pasta necessarily, and I wouldn't recommend like normal pasta either.
Yeah, what about quinoa?
The quinoa, if it's quinoa alone and not quinoa and corn.
What about couscous?
Couscous, that's a debatable one, but if you have no bloating with the wheat, then include it. If you find you do feel bloated, I would recommend to not using it because wheat bloats people sometimes, and that's the body's reaction of saying, hey, I don't really like this.
Okay, so gluten-free option then, really.
Yeah. but naturally gluten-free too. Like even the zoodles that we did are great. The spaghetti squash is fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm a complete convert to the cauliflower rice, so I like that with my curry, and I like that with the bolognese sauce and things like that.
It's so nice. I'm so excited to hear that.
Yeah, I love it.
You can freeze it. They said you can freeze the flour rice.
Gluten-free what? Sharon? Hello? Sharon?
Hi, sorry, I seem to break. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hi. Yeah, my internet keeps like dropping in and out all of a sudden. No, I said you could freeze the cauliflower rice because sometimes you can't find the cauliflower. So if you get it like a few heads and make it into rice, I saw online that you can freeze it easily.
Yes. And we mixed it. Last night we did it with peppers, sweet peppers, and onions, and lovely, really nice.
Oh, yummy.
Nice. And soy sauce.
Yay. Okay, so the final guidelines would be that, include low glycemic carbs when you do want your carbs, and in a small portion of about a quarter cup to a half cup most of the time. Keep nuts and seeds in the diet, but you might want to bring the portion down a bit. Definitely stick to things about seafood, lean meats like poultry, fish, chicken, and your eggs. And when you do feel for dairy, choose things like your goat cheese, even try like the dairy-free yogurt, and aim for mostly a lot of vegetables in your day. Keep up your fasting and making sure that your hydration is going well, and also your fullness levels.
Can I eat any candy?
Sugars are something, again, it's addictive. So it's like once you start, you might not want to stop. Ideally, it's not a healthy habit to have. So it's like if you want it from time to time, or if it's social, or like on an event, then I would say sure. But in the day-to-day, once that starts as a habit, it's really hard to break it. So maybe stick to things like your chocolate, like your sugar-free chocolate and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm glad you made it, you two. Any thing else you want to share before we head out? I wish everyone could have made it, but they are caught up.
I just want to thank you, Annick, for everything that you've done. I think it would have been very difficult without the support.
Definitely.
I think you've been so responsive, which I know is not always easy. So yeah, just thank you really, because I wasn't sure when I started it whether it was something that I could do, but yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much for saying that. It's been such a pleasure having all of you in the group, and thank you for all showing up and trusting me with your results, and it's been really a wonderful journey.
Yes,
Great.
you've been very, very good at sending all the little information and all that. That's made it very helpful and easy to continue to follow the program. It's been very, very nice and informative.
Yeah, been great. It feels very supportive. The group feels very supportive. And you've got the
definitely
the WhatsApp messages and everything. It really, really helps.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a very good idea, the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Yay.
So we're training at 6:30, Annick?
Yes, we are.
Great. Let's sleep now then.
Yeah, thank you everybody for showing up and doing your best and sharing this 6 weeks together. I'm really, really grateful for each and every one of you that have made the effort to show up and stay on track as best as you could. And I know it's been challenging, and I'm just so proud of each and every one of you for overcoming your challenges week by week. I know that some of you had it more stressful than others, and I just want to say that, you know, where you are today as opposed to 6 and 7 weeks ago with your health and wellness is just such an incredible transformation. And you know, I'm just really, really happy I got to share this journey with you all as well.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Annick.
Have a
See
good
you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Would you mind if I shared this recording anywhere?
Not
Nope,
at all. Go ahead.
I'm fine with it.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Have a good
Bye.
evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.